Now what you're seeing is the sun leaving New Zealand on the left side and going into the UK on the right side at the same time. This was done on a live feed. New Zealand is right here. And the UK is over here. This is the same map with the sun over the top of it. And you'll see how the sun works as it goes around our home. That's New Zealand right there. That's Australia. Right there is Australia. And then this is the UK over here. You see? There it goes. New Zealand. Look at how it works. Look how it's all lighting up. The shady part represents night. There you go. As the sun goes around our home, east to west, it comes in towards the north for the summer solstice, and then it goes back out towards the south for the winter solstice, which is why birds fly south for the winter, because they're chasing the sun. Welcome to Flat Earth.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
So I'm gonna be as transparent and honest as possible, as I always try to be, okay? I use the map that is in my phone, that is programmed in my phone, okay? Works every time. I always get to my destination every single time, but check this out. Robert Simmons created the blue marble. You already know where I'm going with this. You already seen this. The hardest part was creating a flat map of Earth's surface with 4 months of satellite data. So they used satellites to map out the world, and it came out flat as strips, but it was flat, okay? Then we wrapped the flat map around a ball. The hardest part was integrating the surface, clouds, and oceans to match people's imaginations to how Earth should look from space. Says a lot, but quick question. Why is it that they tell us, you, me, everybody else, that we knew 2,000 years ago Eratosthenes, we figured it out. It was a globe. But yet, the oldest globe is from the 15th century. So you're telling me, you want to convince me that 1,500 years without a globe, but we knew it was a globe, but the first globe was created, or the oldest we've found is from the 15th century. Makes sense. At least 2 baltards, but continue on spinning. I'm not going to convince you. At this day and age, if you haven't been convinced, you are a lost cause. Can we all admit that truth, real science, is testable, scalable, repeatable, and observable? The bottle's essentially a microcosm of Earth. Where's the outer space here? I just see an enclosed system. Question to my astronauts that go into the ISS and orbit this ball. Where's the science? What are you guys doing up there? Why aren't you guys recreating, reaffirming this ball that in space, a ball forms thanks to gravity, space warp time thingy, and can hold water, land, and gas next to a void? Is there a scale problem, a test problem, a repeatable problem, an observable problem? I don't know.
People have been asking me since I've started making videos, Cameron, so if the Earth is flat, then how do the stars rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere? Well, let me explain. So all of the stars are rotating around Polaris. In reality, they're all rotating around Polaris, clockwise. But looking up, it's counterclockwise. But here's the thing. Since our visual horizon is everything converging into one focal point, since Polaris is so far away when you're in the southern hemisphere, the The stars now appear to be rotating in a different direction. Look, if I'm rotating my finger this way, looking up at it, oh, it's going counterclockwise. But looking down at it, oh, suddenly it's going clockwise. So that is what's happening with the stars, and that's why they appear to be rotating in different fashions in different parts of our globe. So, it's not that the Earth is a globe. It's simply that our visual horizon, it's really only how our eyes perceive light. It's not a physical horizon. Just watch my last video and that'll further explain exactly what I'm talking about. But the sky is a giant electromagnetic biomechanical clock.
Hey, if you believe that the Earth is flying through space, right? And it's the Earth spinning, all the planets flying together, right? That's what you believe, right? And they say every planet is flying at the same speed. Woo, right? Try rolling your window down on the interstate and spitting out the window. Tell me how that goes. Just happened to me. Wasn't pleasant. Because if astronauts are leaving Earth and coming back, when they be the spit going out the atmosphere,
I made a video saying how we are most likely living in a firmament on a flat surface. When you look at this picture I took, it's hard to believe that, I don't know, it's like. And someone said, why would they lie to us about that? Why? We have been lied to about literally every single thing in our existence. And I know that you already know this, most likely, but the reason that you were programmed with a false narrative is to keep you so far away from the truth. This is why the educational system is purposefully designed to not make you a free thinker. It is made to make you think in alignment with the system so that you never break out of it, so that you never see beyond the bigger picture, so that you never stop being controlled and enslaved by them. Oh my God, but no, the government is on our side. They want what's best for us. If you still think this in 2025, I am sending you an enormous hug, but just know.
Did you know that horizon means horizontal eye view? The word horizon actually originates from the Egyptians, the eye of Horus. Your ocular nerves perceive light in a fashion to where everything converges into one singular focal point at the center field of view, which is your horizontal eye view or the visual horizon. So the visual horizon is always at the center field of view. No matter how high one goes, it is always at the center field of view. This blue origin goes 100,000 meters, 320,000 feet. And did you see that? It was completely flat. So if we live on a sphere, we'd have to be looking down at some point to account for curvature, correct? That's just something to think about. And then the moon. Pay close attention to the moon. The light coming from the moon is clearly coming from the moon because it is only lighting up the clouds around it. How is it reflecting the sun's light if the sun's light is nowhere to be found?
Flat Earth experiment gone perfectly successful. This couple took a laser out to a lake, and then they put it 16.5 miles across the lake, on the other side, and took a laser, and they put it 3 feet off the ground. This is how far the laser stretched across. Now, according to Earth Curve Calculator, they had to been 130 feet off the ground to see this laser. That's 16.5 miles away. How are they still seeing it? They're only 3 feet off the ground, and I thought the Earth curved downwards.
These curtain rods are bound to make this magnificent craft fly a little more sturdy. We have our foil up here for radiation, no doubt. Then we have our sponge for space dust. Gotta have that. We have our very important doodads, doohickeys, and gizmos on the top that are key to navigation for the stars that you do not see. Also, you don't see any disruption of the moon dust from the blasters or thrusters, the 10,000 pounds. There's not a mark at all. Then you look under it. Again, not a mark from these 10,000 pound thrusters that supposedly can lift this thing back into orbit. It's just hard to believe. I mean, there's no dust on the feet. It just kind of looks like it was lowered on a set almost. And this guy is in a shadow, but he's well lit. It's just more evidence that it's probably a movie set used to fool the people of the time. And it just did not age well. I mean, even it looks like his gloves aren't even attached to his spacesuit. I don't know. His space boots look a different color. It's just suspect. I mean, the ladder doesn't even reach the moon. Is he floating in air? I mean, is he jumping the rest of the way? That doesn't seem very safe. Oh, look at that, not a speck of dust. Looks like 10,000 pound thrusters just lowered it right down to it. It's sad that this is what they sell us. I mean, what is that, plastic? Is that painted, what is that, painted with spray paint on the side? What is that, gray paint? Who knows? And then, you know, we've got all these reflections everywhere. Who's the person back there? It looks like he has regular clothes on. Again, no disruption of the space dust from the thrusters, but you could see where they walk. You could see all these other prints. I don't know. It's just definitely something to lead you to investigating other things that we've been told, at the very least. I mean, this picture here, if you put it into a photo editor, you can see there's no noise or anything on the picture, like if it was a natural picture. You can see it's been photoshopped, but they told that this was a real picture, which, to come find out after a little research, none of them are real.
I'm about to blow your mind. Everything you've been taught about Earth, space, and evolution, and even history itself has been carefully designed to keep you believing in a lie. Don't believe me? Let me prove it. Let's start with some numbers. They tell us the Earth is spinning at 1,037 miles per hour at the equator, while simultaneously flying through space at 66.6 million miles per hour. That's right, 66.6. Our planet is supposedly tilted at 23.4 degrees, which, when subtracted from a right angle, 90-degree right angle, that gives us 66.6 degrees. Coincidence? They claim the sun is 93 million miles away, yet you can walk outside on a hot summer day and feel the sun burning your skin. But wait, space is supposedly negative 454.8 degrees Fahrenheit, just above absolute zero. How does heat travel through that freezing void and still warm us? And why do the sun and the moon appear to be the exact same size in the sky, even though they claim the moon is only 238,000 miles away? If we live on a ball, where's the curve? Water always finds its level. The ocean water, it's called sea level, not sea curve. What's in a level? Water. If the Earth were truly a globe, we would notice drop off over large distances. Yet, no matter how far you look, the horizon rises to eye level, which should be impossible on a ball. What do you know about Antarctica? Antarctica isn't just some frozen wasteland at the bottom of a spinning globe. It's the ice wall that holds in the world's ocean, because water needs a container. And did you know it's the most heavily restricted area on Earth? In 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed, and over 50 countries agreed that no one could claim, colonize, or independently explore Antarctica. Think about that. The same countries that can't agree on borders, wars, or world policies all agreed to keep Antarctica off limits. Why? Because it's not what they tell us it is. We used to believe that the Earth was the center of creation. This was called the geocentric model. But in 1543, Copernicus introduced the heliocentric model, placing the sun at the center. Suddenly, Earth was no longer special. It just became another rock flying through an infinite void. Every ancient civilization, from the Mayans, Egyptians, Aztecs, and Hebrews, described the Earth as flat, covered by a firmament. Genesis 1:6-8 says God created the firmament to divide the waters above from the waters below. But NASA tells us space is an endless vacuum. They say gravity holds everything together, but helium balloons can float, birds and insects can easily fly. If gravity was so powerful, why can these things easily defy it? Water always finds its level, but yet gravity supposedly curves entire oceans? Science can't replicate gravity. NASA admits they have no way to create artificial gravity in a lab. Objects fall at the same rate in a vacuum, whether it's a hammer or a feather. Gravity supposedly pulls everything based on mass. But if that were true, heavier objects should fall faster. And how about the moon landing? NASA wants you to believe that we sent men 238,000 miles to the moon in 1969, basically in an aluminum and titanium can they called a spaceship. They would have had to travel through the Van Allen radiation belt. Temperatures in this belt can reach 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit to 25,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to melt aluminum and titanium metal. The third law of thermodynamics says a spacecraft wouldn't have enough energy to take off from the moon. They took pictures on the moon, but the film should have been fried by radiation, yet somehow they got back perfect pictures. Ever wonder why the Apollo astronauts have stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Because it was all a production. NASA openly admits that their pictures of Earth and space are composite images, aka computer generated. They say it's because we can't get far enough away to take a real photo. But shouldn't we have thousands of real ones by now? And here's a fun fact. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. Let that sink in. They teach evolution as fact. But how come there are no transitional fossils? If evolution were real, there should be millions of in-between species. But there aren't. They say species evolve through mutations. But mutations usually make things worse, not better. Life is too complex to evolve piece by piece. The human eye alone is a perfect system that couldn't have evolved in steps. Evolution teaches us we're just accidents, evolved from random mutations. Speaking of random, the Big Bang tells us everything came from a random explosion 13.8 billion years ago. Think about that. They want you to believe order came from chaos, that everything in the universe, including you, is just an accident. We can't talk about deception without talking dinosaurs. Did you know they have never found a complete dinosaur skeleton? And all fossils in museums are reconstructions, not originals. The first dinosaur fossil was conveniently found in the 80s, right when evolution was being promoted. And why don't ancient texts mention giant lizards? Cultures recorded every detail of their lives, but yet no one talked about dinosaurs. So why does this matter? Because this entire deception was done for one reason, to take God out of the picture. God created everything with purpose. They want you to believe that you just randomly evolved from mutating stardust and that you're meaningless. That's why they push the Big Bang, evolution, and a heliocentric universe to erase God. If we're just an accident spinning through endless space, then we have no purpose. But if the Earth is flat, enclosed by a firmament, and was created just for us, then we are special. You are not a mistake. You were created with purpose. It's time to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake, wake, wake up out of your sleep! Wake up! Wake up out of your sleep! Wake up! I command you in the name of Jesus! Wake up! Wake up out of your sleep! Wake up! Wake up out of your sleep! The Lord told me to tell you, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, stop crying and wake up, stop worrying and wake up, stop fretting and wake up. God's getting ready to get ready, to get ready, to get ready. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! In the balcony! Wake up! In the choir stand! Wake up!
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.